It's really not. It's not instant. It's like a, ooh, it wasn't bad?
No.
It smells really good. That is so good. Look at this. How pretty is this coffee? Made myself a little cold brew with like a cold foam on top. I use my Nespresso frother, but I used to use my hand frother, so either way it like comes out the same. Good morning. Oh my god, I feel weird vlogging today. I don't know why. I think it's because I'm doing a new video and I'm a little nervous about it, if I'm being honest, because I don't exactly know how I'm supposed to film this type of video. I've never made a video dedicated to books, and I don't know why. Books have just always been the backbone of my life. I grew up an only child, so I didn't really like do much with other people growing up. Like I had friends obviously, but like in the house, like it was just me and my mom, and we were both readers. Like growing up, I would stay up till like 4 or 5 in the morning to read my books, and I still do that if I want to finish a good book. And I don't know, I've been like seeing a lot of people making like reading vlogs. I'm on Reading Book Talk, they make reading vlogs there. Even some like YouTubers I watch talk about books. Like I don't know, it's such a big part of me, and I feel like I don't share it enough recently. Like I used to share it a lot in a lot of vlogs, and like I haven't been doing it as much, so I figured let's make a whole dedicated vlog. I don't know how these are gonna go. I feel like I'm just gonna like feel it out and like see what I like, see what I don't like. It'll be a trial and error. If you have any ideas on like what you want me to talk about in the book vlogs or the reading vlogs, like let me know in the comments, because I don't know how this works. First part of this vlog is going to be pretty chatty, and the next part is going to be more of the reading vlog focus, like fun montages and me reading all over the place, because I'm kind of going to just take you throughout my day, and I'm going to read throughout the day. Do work for 4 hours today at 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. and then when I get home I get in bed and I read. So that's what I do every day. I read at night, but I felt like I wanted to spend some of today reading because I am starting a new book. In this reading vlog, we're going to chat about a very specific author and book world. If you saw the title, you know. If you've read the books, you know. If you have not, you're gonna learn. So, welcome to the book vlog, my first reading vlog. This feels very weird. I'm just gonna sit here and chat for a few minutes. I'm gonna drink my coffee, get your coffee, get your notebook. And we're gonna like, are you fucking kidding me? Oh, I'm going to make a new one and I gotta clean this up. You know what's wild? My coffee spilt all over like the back front of the notebook, and it got like on the back page. It got here and it got on the front, but it didn't touch the pages at all, which I'm so grateful for. This is a wipe. I'm like trying to wipe the wall. Cleaned up this. My book that I'm currently reading that I was going to talk about, it was out of the way, which is insane. Like it usually sits right here with, oh, that was a tripod too, my other 2 books we're going to talk about. But it usually sits right here with my other notebooks, but for some reason I moved it over there. I don't know why I did it, because that would have gotten destroyed. Okay, I'm gonna go make a new coffee. I can't right now. So today we're gonna talk all about Sarah J Maas and the SJM universe, and just like where I'm at with her books, reading orders, and of course the reading portion of this vlog, which I'm gonna read. So I am on Crescent City. I just bought this book and the title looks very intimidating. I feel like if you're new to fantasy, if you don't know like what to read for fantasy, I feel like the Sarah J Maas universe is kind of daunting because there are so many books out there. These have been my favorite videos to make for TikTok and to watch as well. So I was like, why aren't I filming my own for YouTube? So we're gonna talk all about it today. This is the book that started it all, right here. If you are unfamiliar with this whole thing, let's break it down, okay? Sarah J Maas is an author. She writes fantasy books, and they are all about fairies. It's not like little fairies, it's cool fairies. I feel like nobody knows how to describe a fantasy book. It's so cool. There's world building, like she creates worlds and have their own universes and their own worlds and their own problems, and it's so cool. These books are filled with like love and romance and magic. There's war, there's grief, there's friendship, there's love, there's heartache, there's like so much beautiful things except it involves magic, it involves the Fae. Don't let me lose you there, okay? Because I feel like if I describe it, it's not gonna make sense and you're gonna be like, what is this? So where we're gonna start is right here. We're talking all about Sarah J Maas, we're talking all about her series, and the first one we're gonna talk about is ACOTAR. I spoke about this a few months ago when I was up north because that is when I discovered these books. Now, the book that started it all for me was this book right here, A Court of Thorns and Roses. So the back says, when 19-year-old huntress Farah kills a wolf in the woods, a terrifying creature arrives to demand retribution. Dragged to a treacherous, magical land she knows about only from legends, Farah discovers that her captor is not truly a beast, but one of the lethal, immortal fairies who once ruled her world. At least he's not a beast all the time. As she adapts to her new home, her feelings for the fairy Tamlin transform from icy hostility into a fiery passion that burns through every lie she's been told about the beautiful, dangerous world of the Fae. But something is not right in the fairy lands. An ancient, wicked shadow is growing, and Farah must find a way to stop it or doom Tamlin and his world forever. This 19-year-old girl kills a fairy, but he's in wolf form. So this is like the first chapter of the book, okay? She kills this wolf. Little does she know it's a fairy. She's just trying to feed her family, okay? Girl needs to feed her family. So she goes out hunting. She's 19. She's a small 19-year-old human girl ready to kill a wolf, okay? She kills a wolf, but realizes it's fucking huge. It's this massive wolf. And then she later learns that it's actually a fae. So this Tamlin creature comes into her home and is like demanding she come with him to the fairy world because it's like even exchange. Like, you killed one of mine, so I take one of you. And that's what happens. That's how she gets into this world. So it like goes into her learning about the Fae and learning about these like new ways of life and like their magic and what their worlds look like, and she's fighting for love and friendship, and she is just like full of passion and full of care, and she loves her family, and she does it all for her family because she wants to protect her family. So if one of them has to get taken, she picks herself. It's giving like I volunteer as tribute, Katniss Everdeen vibes. Like, that's how all of this starts. You're gonna go into the Sarah J Maas universe. You're gonna start with ACOTAR. ACOTAR, I feel like, is the most easy to understand. Through the other series, you kind of get little hints and glimpses into other things, and it's a bit more complicated and harder to understand if you have no fantasy background. This is like fantasy romance. So it's romance, but like to an extreme. When I read these books, it is all I thought about for like a month. But because I've never experienced reading or characters or a world like this before, it took everything from my heart and soul. And I just really recommend this whole like universe, but you need to start here. So you start with A Court of Thorns and Roses, ACOTAR, and then you go into A Court of Mist and Fury, and then you go into A Court of Wings and Ruin. So that is the start of this whole journey. These three books, they follow the point of view of Farah and just all her trials and tribulation and love and war and grief and etc, etc, etc. So this is where you start. Then you go into these two books. This is like a little like one-off holiday special episode. A Court of Frost and Starlight. This is when like you're looking at the characters and things are just a little simple for them. They're taking a pause because life has just been wild for them. So then you go into A Court of Silver Flames. This is about Farah's sister Nesta and her story, and this is giving more like a third person point of view. This isn't even a completed series. Another book is coming out and we think it's about the other sister. The main character has two sisters, so we think it's about the third sister. So that is the first thing you're going to start with. Then we roll into the next Sarah J Maas series, which is Throne of Glass. This is an 8-book series, and it is said to be a completed series. So this is all we have, and that's all we know that we're getting right now. This is a masterpiece of books. This series is an 8-book series, and it is a little more daunting because there's a lot more world building. Romance is a bit slower, but it's still there. Trust, it is still there. And this series is just truly just like incredible. It's about a female lead. Her name is Selena Sardothian, and she is an assassin. She is the best assassin in the entire land. It's like where the whole thing starts. I have never been so emotional in my life for ACOTAR. I cried For these books, I felt like my soul was obliterated. I feel so lost without these characters. That's why I'm having a hard time starting the next series, because I like don't know what to do with myself after these books. It's just so hard to let go. I've never read anything like it. It is beautiful. It is a masterpiece. It is a work of art. And I truly have never read a series so good. The reading order can be kind of played with. There's not like a Court of Thorns and Roses first book, second book, third book. Like, it doesn't go like that. You have options, which is why it took me so long to start this book series. So when I first made a video about this book, I was speaking about how I read it in this order, and I would recommend either order I talk about. The whole thing comes with when to read this book. It's The Assassin's Blade. It's basically a book of prequels to the main character's life. If you want to go in chronological order, if you want to have all the pieces to the puzzle in place, I said on TikTok, like, if you want to basically follow a friend through life, then I would recommend reading the series like this. So you have The Assassin's Blade, which, like I said, is the prequel to the main character's life. You learn all the stories behind what she speaks about in here, in these two books. I read The Assassin's Blade third, which I still recommend. I still think either way is good. So you have Throne of Glass, Crown of Midnight, and then you would have The Assassin's Blade. So let's take the friend example, okay? Basically, you meet a friend, a new friend in your life here, and she's like hinting to different stories, and she's kind of talking about different experiences in her life here and there throughout these books. And then in this book, you like really learn everything that she was talking about here. So either way, you could know everything from the start, or you can get to know it over time. I read it like this and I really enjoyed it, but I also think I would have enjoyed it even more if I read The Assassin's Blade first, because I think I would have been more emotional, because everything would have been new. Because when you read it like third, you already know a lot of the outcomes from this, because we're past this point here. Like, this is the start and this is like the middle. So I feel like I already knew a lot that happened, because she hinted about it here. So it wasn't like a shock when I read about these things. But if I were to read it first, it all would have been so new. You have chronological order, which is like this, the story of her life from start to finish. Or you have publishing order, which you're learning a little bit about her story here, and then you really get into it here. Some people say you can read it after this book, which is Heir of Fire, and read it like this, but I disagree. I will never recommend it like this, because I feel like in Heir of Fire, you're introduced to a lot of new characters, new situations, new scenarios, because at the end of this book, you learn a lot. The story starts to take a turn here, so I feel like if I were to read this book after that, I would be like, no, I don't want to go all the way back to the beginning. I want to jump into the next story. So I would recommend reading this first or third. Obviously, like I said, you pick and choose when to read The Assassin's Blade, Throne of Glass, Crown of Midnight, Heir of Fire, and then right after Heir of Fire, you immediately want to jump into Queen of Shadows, because this is where the story picks up. Then you have the next decision you have to make, which is where you're going to read these two books. If you're going chronological order, you read Empire of Storms, and then you read Tower of Dawn. But the fandom, this amazing fandom of Sarah J Maas and the universe and the whole thing, came up with a way to read these books at the same time, to do a tandem read, because these two books are two different events happening at the same exact time. So this is where the main character and kind of more of the favorite characters are, and this book is where kind of the supporting characters are. These characters are not everybody's favorite. I think this book is a little bit slower than this book, so I feel like if you read them together, which is what I did, the story kind of keeps moving. Because if you read them in like chronological order, or just like in order of when they were published, you would read Empire of Storms and then Tower of Dawn, but then you would miss out on the main characters that are like gonna be your favorite. For probably about 700 pages, until you find them again in this book. I would recommend reading them together. You can get little tabs, you can tab them, and if you look up on Google like Throne of Glass tandem read, it'll show you when to switch off in the two different books. So these are great books. It could be read standalone, but I do think it is important to read this book either way. Some people will just skip over it completely, because you kind of start to develop how you feel about these characters throughout the series, and some people don't like them. I would just recommend reading them at the same time. but you cannot skip this book. It is a good book, and there's a lot of important information in it. Same thing with the Assassin's Blade, that first book we spoke about. There's some really important information that you're going to need for later on in the series that you just want when going into this book. And then you end the series with Kingdom of Ash, which is the final book. It is the biggest book, and it is my favorite book I think ever written. It's a very hard toss-up between Kingdom of Ash and A Court of Mist and Fury. They're two different books, so I can't really compare them, but this book is truly phenomenal. I've never felt so much. That is the Throne of Glass series. This is the only completed series that we know of in the universe. So I also recommend reading ACOTAR first because you do get little hints of it. I know hear a few things here and there of ACOTAR because again, the Sarah J Maas universe. So I have a feeling, there's a lot of fan theories, but I do have a feeling personally that things are gonna connect at some point, but who knows? And I'm not even finished with all the books in the universe yet. So we have that. And then that leads me to today and what we're reading today. We are reading Crescent City. So I can't explain what Crescent City is because I haven't read it. Like I said, I barely even read the back of it. I just know that it is important in this whole universe. And also this is only a 2-book series at the moment, and the 3rd book is coming out in January. So I really wanted to get through all of those books, so then I could end with this and it'd be like the most fresh in my head for when the 3rd book comes out in January. So we're gonna read Crescent City. That is what my plans are for today. I am kind of just gonna take it through a day. We're gonna read most of the day and I'm just gonna have a chill, nice day. And that is the reading vlog, so welcome to it. I will have everything linked in the description box as well of all the books I spoke about. I'm gonna get back into bed for a few minutes and just like read a few chapters, and then I'm gonna make some breakfast because I'm really hungry. So that is my plan. One thing I love about fantasy books is the maps. They're so detailed, so whenever I'm confused like on a location, I can just like flip back to the front to look at the map. Here we go though, part 1. One thing about fantasy books that like I have a hard time with, that I feel like everybody does, is like understanding the worlds and the creatures and I don't know, just like what am I reading right now? Like, what is a Vanir? A Vanir? V-A-N-I-R. I'm probably gonna find out, but even the least powerful of the Vanir, a group that covered every being on Midgard, aside from humans and ordinary animals, could be deadly. What, I still can't picture it. Don't let this turn you off to reading these books. I've heard this one is like one of the hardest to get into, so start with the other books first. Oh, this is like real time, isn't it? I'm like, this just mentioned sending a video and a boom box, a beat up boom box. Maybe that'll help me understand the rest of it, because if I like know modern day terminology. Oh, and we're talking about smoking and being high. Oh, and we're sending emails. Okay, I'm gonna understand this, I think. I got it. I gotta like get into the world. Okay, are Vanir creatures like the Fae? Cause like in ACOTAR and Throne of Glass, I'm reading about the Fae, and now here I'm reading about a Vanir. Putting a bookmark, chapter 2. I have not gotten far, I'm on page 11, but we're doing fine. I also love moon and stars on this bookmark. It reminds me of just like the fantasy world, so that is why I got this bookmark. I want to get more. I want to get like themed ones for all the books I love, but that's the only one I have right now. So I'm gonna go make some breakfast. I am so hungry, and then we'll read some more. I love garlic salt. It's my favorite thing. This breakfast took me 5 minutes. Eggs, a rice cake with peanut butter, and some apples. Just to spice it up a little bit. I really have been trying to get more protein in and eat more fruits, so here we go. margarita towel. How cute is this? I got this at TJ Maxx this year at some point, earlier this year. Obviously my book, Crescent City. I'm on chapter 2. It's starting to make a bit more sense now. It just takes a second to get into. I have sunscreen, sun bum of course, and then I am gonna bring my water bottle as well as snacks. I just have to go to the kitchen for those. So. Another day of this reading vlog. I got the book. I am on chapter, I think, 23. I was going to say 19. 23 of CC1. Not halfway through, but I'm going to try to finish most of it, if not all of it, today, so I can do a full review on Crescent City 1. Hello, it's been about a week since I last filmed the first part of the reading vlog. So we are back, and I have things to say. Okay, let me sit down. So, first of all, okay, for CC1. If you don't want spoilers, skip ahead. I'm going to talk about like a theory really quick. Just skip ahead. I'm going to the pool, as you can see. So skip ahead to that part. I have timestamps, you know. Here are my theories for Crescent City, okay? 100% Hunt and Bryce are getting together. I understand the plot more and like who they are, where they come from. I understand the houses a little bit more. Still struggling. I'm on page like 270 or something, and I'm still struggling about like the house situation and like why they come from different houses and what each one represents. I'm struggling a little bit. I understand the map and the world now of Midgard, but not completely like each house and like why it's significant. But I can clearly see that like each book is going to be a house because the next one is House of Sky and Breath. So here are my theories. First of all, Hunt and Bryce are going to get together. I just have a feeling. I'm at the part where they just met Ruin. Is that her cousin, aka her brother? I have a feeling that Bryce and him are gonna like make up and become besties again. It's like her brother or whatever. I think that him and Ruin, is it Ruin, are gonna be good too. I just like, I don't know, in these kinds of books, like there's no way the good people don't band together. You know what I mean? Like I feel like that's always what happens. The good people always like team up. So I just think that's gonna happen. And I do think there's something suspicious about the Autumn King, unless he's just like a loser dude, but he's either giving like King Hybern, Erewhon vibes, or he's just like a loser like Tamlin. Like there's no issue with him, but he's not like cool either. I don't know. That's my thought so far. Just because he's just rude. Like he's just an asshole. So Danica killed me. I miss her, and she was barely in the first book, but like I feel like she's gonna connect to something bigger. I think Bryce is gonna become full fae at some point, or she has like these undiscovered like deep down powers or whatever rooted, where she is gonna be like one of the most powerful of whatever in this realm. There's no way that if she's the main character through all these books that she's not gonna have more development. So those are my thoughts, and that's just based on reading other fantasy books, like how it goes and discovering your power and like being the main character. Like I feel like a lot of times there's nothing fully revealed. I also think all the gods that they're talking about are gonna play a role, like, and at some point, because of fan theories that I've seen on TikTok, all the Sarah J Maas worlds are gonna connect. I just know that because Crescent City has popped up a lot on my For You page about like the theories of like ACOTAR and Throne of Glass being involved. So I guess we'll see for CC3, but I'll let you know. I'm gonna go to the pool now. It is my day off and I wanna try to get through this book. It is a Thursday and I'm exhausted. I've just been working all week, so I haven't really been able to read a ton because I've been working a lot. So I haven't really been able to like really dive into this. So hopefully today. I very much like this book though. I like Bryce a lot. Like her character. I feel like she's very relatable being human. Same thing with like Feyre and Selena Sardothian. They were relatable because they were human. So like we can relate. But it's cool because it's in real time. So there's a lot of like real time things that I understand because of that. Yeah, that's my thoughts. So I'm going to the pool. can't believe it is time. Okay, I am on the last 100 pages of Crescent City. I've been reading this book for almost 10 days. Tomorrow it'll be 10 days. So I'm finishing this in about 9. Not too bad. For some reason I thought I was like on 2 weeks of this book, but I only started it like I said 10 days ago. I was right, okay, about a few things. If you don't want to hear spoilers, just like get out, you know what I mean? But like watch the other vlogs. I knew Hunt and Bryce were gonna get together. They're 100% mates. I know it for a fact. I just feel like Sarah J Maas like fucks with us with her mind games, you know what I mean? Like in ACOTAR, we thought Tamlin was it, or some of us. Same thing in Throne of Glass when we were meeting the love interest there. I'm trying not to spoil too much. Just skip ahead. I'll leave a time here for when it's not being spoiled, okay? I know for a fact Bryce and Hunt are mates because I feel like she's thrown us off, because in all her other books, usually the first 1-2 relationships or love interests aren't her mate, or the main character's mate, or whatever, like typically, okay? This book, just the way that like she almost like had something with, I forget, the one in the wolf pack, but then they all obviously died, and then all of a sudden Hunt comes in. Like, what do we think's gonna happen? He's just another dude investigating the case, like he's just someone assigned to the case. Come on. Have we ever read romance? Hello, there is no way. I know Sarah J Maas has messed with our brains before, and I know this is only book 1, and how book 1 never has like the ending of love interest, but I don't believe it. I think other shit's gonna go down in the next few books, and then we're gonna be focused kind of more on other characters maybe, and it's not just gonna be from Bryce's point of view. We'll see. Still undecided with my thoughts and feelings, but 100% they're mates. Spoiler alert, they got together. As I said, skip ahead if you didn't want the spoilers, but I knew they were gonna get together, but they haven't gotten like fully together, you know, like they're for sure in love, and they've like spent a lot of time together, but like it hasn't been fully revealed that they're mates. They haven't had their like mating bond moment, the whole thing. I felt like it was only fitting to have a margarita this evening, okay? I needed it. It was a long day at work. I told you guys I read after work. I said this at the beginning of the vlog. It is 7:33 p.m. It is so dark out. It got dark at like 5 p.m. and all I wanted to do was get in bed, put my little comfy pajama set on, get a drink, and read my book. Like, that's the vibes this evening. Okay, I know this angle changed. Sorry, I just needed to take a thumbnail. But I have such a love for Bryce, her character. I hope she doesn't turn like evil or some shit. She's very like relatable. Like, she's just a girl with a job. Like, she's an assistant with a pet. Like, living in an apartment she can't afford. Like, or living in a not great apartment because she like doesn't have the money to afford like this nice fancy one. Like, so real. Girl who just like goes out, restaurants, eating, whatever, has a best friend. Obviously we know what happens there, like very emotional, like just dealing with that, just trying to like live. She was basically abandoned by her father. Very relatable. Like when her dad like wasn't there when she was growing up, relatable. Grew up with her mother, relatable. Like, well, for me, you know what I mean? So like I feel like with this being like very present day, Bryce just like living like a normal 20-some-year-old. This just had things I liked that I didn't expect I liked, I guess. Like, or that I was gonna like those details about her. Okay, so there's that. I said read Crescent City last one because I hadn't started it yet. So I just like, the way I was going with it, it just like made sense like when I was talking about it earlier in this vlog. But I fucking stand by it because there are things in this book, words, phrases, liners that are so huge in ACOTAR and Throne of Glass that are hinted to in this book. I know these worlds are going to connect at some point. When Liaba, is that her name? Liaba, was I reading it right? When she said over and over and over again, my friends are with me and I am not afraid. And she said it over and over and over again. And a theory popped up on TikTok for me, okay, and I'm gonna say it because it just has been sticking into my head. It like basically connected to Throne of Glass, saying like Aelin only had an ember of her power in her. What is Bryce's mom's name? Ember. She has some kind of power. I know it for a fucking fact. I already got to the part where like Danica like put the horn in her basically. I have 50 more pages to read and I'm not ready, but we're gonna dive into it right now. We'll update with feelings and emotions, but that's all I have to say for now. Who does that sound like? And Bryce is running through the city with Danica's sword, and they're all watching and they're like, that's a true wolf, after like disowning her. I could start crying. Oh my god. Another update. Bryce just called Hunt to say all the goodbyes. Like, I have a feeling she's gonna live. Like, I just can't picture another main character now taking on the next book, you know? It's like my worst nightmare, you know? Like, having to call everybody and say goodbye. I have waterproof mascara on. Thankfully. Alright. I have more to go. Oh my god. I just read the part when, like, Danica said I love you to Bryce for the first time and in the motorcycle accident. Sarah J Maas with your plot twist. This half-fake girl with no powers. Are you fucking for real? Oh my god, I knew I loved Bryce even before I'm reading this story. I'm in shock. I fucking knew it. I knew she had something in her. I fucking said this like a week ago in the vlog. I knew it. Because I said there's no way the character's progression is not gonna have some kind of something, you know? Sarah tricked us and we thought it was the horn at first. That, like, that's why she has this gift. No, no, no. There is more than the horn. I fucking knew it, you know? As I was reading the chapters of her brother, like, only being able to summon, like, a flicker of the, like, the light, the starborn, whatever, I can't even get the words out. My brain is, like, on a fast track right now. I was like, I bet you fucking Bryce is the one that has it and they haven't discovered it yet. Light it up, Bryce. Are you kidding me? Danica's words. I am so emotional over this book. What the Light it up. Are you kidding? It's so good.